Alright guys, welcome to video number 2. In the first video we talked about introductory to our identity as individuals. And while our name is the most important, aspect or part of our identity, in this video we're going to talk about the different forms of identity that we receive along the way throughout our lifetime as identifying who we are. So the first form of identification that we receive literally not too long after we're born is our birth certificate. Now, this piece of paper literally says that at some point in time during the world's existence, that you, the individual, existed on this earth. Okay? And even after we've passed away and from this earth and gone on, our birth certificate still remains in existence. Now, likely it's filed away somewhere, but it is nonetheless still around with, whatever your name is or name was on it, just declaring that you were here and that you existed. Okay? The next form of identification we receive is our social security card. Now, this form of ID has your name on it and a number that identifies who you are as an individual. And that's that's a 3, 5, 9-digit number. All right, I had to think about that one. 9-digit number identifying who you are. Now, the most interesting thing about this is that two individuals cannot have the same social security number at any given time. All right? Now, I haven't done my research on this, but I'm sure anyone who is actively living on the earth, everyone has a different social security number. Doesn't matter if you're twins, if you're triplets, if you're sextuplets, or if you're octomom that had the 8 kids. I mean, that was just crazy in itself. Anyway, no one has your social security number except for you. It identifies who you are. Another form of identification we receive are actual ID cards. And you might get this possibly maybe in high school, depending on where you go to school at. But you will definitely get one of these in college if you go, and on a job that you accept or take. And so what this is it identifies who you are to say that you belong here. So if you're a student in school, it identifies that you belong in this school. You are a student in this school, you're registered, you're supposed to be here, and it also gives you access to certain areas or certain buildings if you're on a university or a college or certain areas of a high school because you belong there. You have a card that gives you access. As far as your job is concerned, same deal. It also gives you access to certain facilities in that job, certain areas, certain doors, certain gateways. It also gives you access to possibly even electronics such as a cash register or possibly anything that deals with, with money or access to get given to other people. It identifies that you work here, you belong here, and it also has to deal with safety, especially in schools. It identifies that if you're not a student of this school and you're in the building, that's a safety issue. If you're purporting to be an employee that works here and you're not, that's an issue. So ID cards in general are normally given to us on our jobs and possibly in our schools. All right. Another form of identification we receive are our driver's license. Now, this form of identification is highly important. Now, you can leave your birth certificate at home, you can leave your social security card at home, and any other form of ID you want, you can leave at home. But this one, you do not want to leave home without. Why? Because this could be the difference between you walking home or you going to jail. Okay? One or the other, among other things. So you don't want to ever leave home without your driver's license, because once you receive your driver's license, it literally becomes the thing that sticks with you for the rest of your life, with the exception of your birth certificate. All right? Most times people ask for your ID, you normally whip out your driver's license, right? And so you want to make sure you have that with you all the time. You do not ever want to leave home without having your driver's license, especially if you are the driver. Okay? Remember that. All right? The last form of identification we'll talk about just briefly, and we could say this too, it could be either a debit card, a bank card, or a credit card. And so these are composed of numbers and your name that are on a card that basically what? Identifies who you are as the individual. And so what does this do? This thing determines, or it identifies what things you've bought or purchased, how much money you've deposited or withdrawn from your bank account, how much debt you're in, or how much debt you're not in, and so on and so forth. And so we don't have time to discuss, this, because this is like a whole different training as far as, debit cards, bank cards, credit cards. But they are a form of identification for you, among other things. But these are probably the main ones that we get over time in our lifetime. So in the next video, we're going to discuss the two different types of identification that directly affect who we are as individuals. All right? I'll see you in the next video.